Okay, good morning, everyone. Okay, very happy to have you guys here today to introduce our speaker today, who has been brought to us by the Youth Task Force. Our speaker today is Jeff Yalden from Cape Cod, Massachusetts. So, a little bit about Jeff. Jeff, while serving the United States Marine Corps in 1992, Jeff decided to start his work with teens. Since then, Jeff Yalden has spoken to teens in all 50 states and in 48 different countries. Over 4 million people live have listened to Jeff share his message. We guarantee you that Jeff will change your life. From MTV Made, please welcome award-winning teen motivational speaker, MTV Made teen life coach, teen author, radio show host of The Jeff Yalden Show, Jeff Yalden.
Cool. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. This is such a privilege to be here. I came over on the boat a little bit early yesterday and got to hang out downtown a little bit, and what a beautiful community. But I've been here as a tourist on the boat and everything, so this is, to have the honor of coming to speak here is, you know, I've got the greatest job in the world. What a privilege. And I've always wanted to eat at Smokin' Bones, but every time I'd come over, I'd be like, dude, man, come on, you open at 5, this place sucks. So we got to go over there last night to have dinner. And, man, I'll tell you, that best ribs I think I've ever had. And fat people love ribs, man. So I had to give them a shout out. The owner was great. And there's a young lady in here whose mom was serving us last night. And we got to talk to her. And, man, I'm excited and honored to be here. One thing I think is funny, when you guys were coming in, I was told there was one girl that said, "Oh, this is great, another adult to tell me to do my homework." I love when high school students come into the auditorium because your attitude is like, "Oh, this is great, another person, tell me do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that." And I laugh so hard because the message is nothing like that. I don't come here to speak at you, I come here to speak with you. I'm nobody different than your teachers, coaches, your parents. I'm just a simple, fat, bald guy that has spent a career working with young people. I have 4 kids that I like most of the time. I have 2 daughters. My older daughter, Tori, is 23 years old. She's a dancer in New York City trying to fulfill a dream, and I'm proud of her. And here's one thing I'm real proud of. Every single day she gets knocked down, but she has to get back up. When I think young people have this sense of entitlement where it's like, I am, therefore you owe me, and she realizes that she's got to do it on her own, and I'm proud of that. My young daughter, Taylor, is 20 years old. She's a junior at Miami University in Oxford, Ohio. We don't know if she's mine, but she is mine. She's mine. She looks like me. She's got my features. She's stunning. She's beautiful. She's freaking mine. But she's smart. She speaks 3 languages, which is like 2.5 more languages than I speak. I remember when she was in 9th grade, she'd come home one day and she's like, "Dad, next year I'm going to go to Chile and I'm going to be an exchange student." And I'm like, "No, you ain't." She's like, "Yeah, I am." I'm like, "No, you ain't." "You're fat." "I am." What does me being fat have to do with you going to Chile? "I don't know." "Well, you're an idiot. You're not going there." And so one thing I learned about having daughters is I say no a lot. They just don't hear me. So she went to Chile her sophomore year to be an exchange student. And this is what's really interesting. She had the courage to go to a country that she ain't ever been. The courage to go speak a language that she ain't ever spoken. The courage to live with a family that she ain't ever lived with. And I meet a lot of young people that it's like we're afraid so much of what people might say, what people might think, how people might feel, what people might do. And many of you probably come in here and you're looking at me and you're thinking, yo, dude, you don't look like the type of guy that our school would bring in to speak to us. I know. Because you're judging me based on I'm not wearing a shirt and tie, I'm not more presentable. Some of the teachers might be like, well, don't you think as a speaker, you're on stage, you should dress a little bit more appropriate? Dude, really? But then if I wore a shirt and tie, then you'd be like, dude, don't you think if you're going to relate to young people, you should probably dress a little bit more casual? Like, dude, make up your freaking mind. What do you want? And it's like if I had hair, you would judge me because you don't like my hair. I have tattoos. You judge me based on my tattoos, yet you don't know the significance and the message that my tattoos share. Here's the point I'm trying to make. We as a society, not just you, not just teachers, parents, but everybody, we spend way too much time judging people based on the 5% that we think we know about them. So my thought is, they're going to judge you anyway. So why don't you just live your life and be proud of the person that you are and learn to live not by reputation, but learn to live by character because that's who you are. So my daughter went to Chile. What an incredible experience for her. About 2 Christmases ago, we're sitting there and we're hanging out and she's sitting here and I'm sitting here and she looks at me and she's like, Dad. And I was like, what? And she's like, you look nice today. And I was like, I know. I look nice every day. She's like, whatever, Dad. She's like, Dad, you know how you always tell me when there's an opportunity to seize the moment and go for my dreams, and then when I come to a fork in the road, just go. Don't stop and wait and see what everybody else is to do, but create my own path. And I'm like, yeah, and don't do drugs. She's like, Dad, I know. She said, but you know how you always tell me to go for it? And I'm like, uh-huh. She's like, I have a chance to be the only freshman at Miami University to go to Barcelona, Spain, 2nd semester and study, and I think I should do it. And I remember just sitting there and being like, go for it, man. And so she went to Barcelona, Spain. She studied 2nd semester. What an incredible opportunity. She seized the moment. She went after something. She didn't know the outcome. She didn't know what people would think or what people would say, but she pursued a dream. Why is that important? Ladies and gentlemen, I wish you knew. I get a phone call. I get to come to Martha's Vineyard High School, and I get all excited the day before. I'm like, I get to speak to students today. When I was your age, I remember I was about 10th grade, growing up in Long Island, New York, and I'm sitting in class. And I remember sitting there, and before I say this, let me share with you where this comes from. I graduated high school 128 out of 133 students. I was rejected by 16 of the 19 colleges that I applied to. I grew up with a learning disability, a stutter, a twitch. They didn't have ADD when I was growing up, but if they did have it, I think I had all of it. I just remember the teachers calling home, and they'd be like, Mr. and Mrs. Yalden, yeah, your boy don't listen. And so I'd be upstairs, and my parents would call me down. They'd be like, hey, get down here! And I'd come running down, be like, what? My parents would be like, the teacher calls and you don't listen! And I'd look at my parents and be like, I know! Ladies and gentlemen, I learn differently. I speak differently, I think differently, I dress differently. But as I became an adult, I started to realize it's okay that I'm different. But it took me 25 years of counseling and therapy to realize that being me is okay. And as we've gone through 25 years of intense counseling, over the years, the question has always been, Jeff, as we look back in your life, what is the moment when things started to change where you felt inadequate? And it goes back to this moment. I'm in about 10th grade. I'm sitting with my friend Karen in class. I'm sitting next to my friend Britt in class. We're still friends today. Karen is a doctor. She's a child pediatrician. And Britt, she's a lawyer. Like, whoa, freaking smart. I just work with kids. I remember sitting in class, and Karen is writing pages of notes. The teacher's teaching and writing on the board, and Britt is writing pages of notes and listening intently. And I'm just 14, 15 years old, sitting in the middle, thinking about what 14, 15-year-old boys think about. I'm 42 years old. I haven't recovered from that thought. And I remember sitting there as Britt's writing on her paper and Karen's writing on her paper, and I have nothing written down, and I'm just like, what are you writing? And it's like I didn't hear anything that they heard. And so I started to go through the rest of high school, always looking to compare myself. I'm not the good-looking guy that can date the pretty girl. I'm not the athlete that can start on the football team or the basketball team, or I'm not as smart as you. I don't have your ability. I can't do this. I can't do that. You know what? I'm not smart enough. I'm not ever going to be able to do anything with my life. And I started to go through life feeling inadequate, that I'm not capable. And so you know, ladies and gentlemen, when I was 18 years old, my self-esteem was so low that I honestly thought to myself that if I could meet a girl and marry her, that maybe she would take care of me. And I realized that who I am today is a result of the choices I made early, which gave me a lot of failure. But then I've also learned that the choices and the attitude that I've made as a result of failing also made me successful. You see, my success in life has had nothing to do with intelligence and ability. Am I saying to you that intelligence and ability is not important? I'm not saying that at all. But here's what I am saying. If you have intelligence and you have ability, my question is this: what are you doing with it? Because if you don't use a little bit of what you've been given, then you're wasting your potential to be great in life. What I am saying is simply this. At 18 years old, I wanted a woman to take care of me because I didn't think I could do anything. So at 18 years old, I meet a girl, I get married, I join the Marine Corps. At 19 years old, I have my first child. At 20 years old, I go to the Gulf War to fight for my country. At 21 years old, I come back from the Gulf War, and at 22 years old, I have my second child, and at 23 years old, I lost everything. My greatest regret speaking to you today is that I wasn't a good enough dad. But at 18 years old, it was on the night that I graduated from high school that my parents kicked me out of the house. And ladies and gentlemen, I never really looked back because I had that chip on my shoulder. And I think as young people, we're starting to develop a chip on a shoulder. We might not even realize it. We might not even think about it. But I spent way too much time pushing away the messengers when I want you to invite the messengers into your life. The people that you trust, the people that you respect, the people whose opinions you value. We need to not push them away, but we need to bring them in. And I'm walking the streets like, yo, you don't know me. You don't walk in my shoes. You ain't ever been where I've been. You don't got to see what I see, do what I do. Yo, who are you to judge me? You don't know what it's like to go home and not know, is my dad home, is my dad not home? Where's my dad today? You don't know what it's like to go home and watch your dad beat your mama, but you can't say nothing for the fear that you're afraid that you're going to get beat next. Yo, you want to judge me? Ladies and gentlemen, if I could say something to you today, I would love to be able to invite you to lose your ego, and open your heart. And so that if you have people in your life that you trust and respect and whose opinions you value, you go to them. And who are they? Should be your parents. I know some, oh, Jeff, you don't understand. No, I understand. I know that within your four walls, there are issues. Within my four walls, there are issues. But your parents should be the number one people that you should trust and that you should go to and you should listen to. And if you can't, your parents, you've got great teachers, you've got great coaches, you've got your friends' parents. Go to them. I have two boys. Kim and I have two biracial boys. Joshua is 15 years old. He's in 9th grade. Joshua is developmentally delayed. I can tell you stories about Joshua that would make you from the age of 1 to 2, Joshua was sexually abused by his father. His father has no relationship with his boys. Joshua has trouble sleeping in his own room at night because he's scared. He has trouble taking a shower at night because he's afraid that someone might be up there, that Kim and I have to be upstairs for the most part. He's been hospitalized 9 times. He has tried to commit suicide twice. And he comes to school every single day and you laugh at him. Because he's not normal. What is normal? And he's that dude that sits in the cafeteria, maybe with a friend or by himself. And you guys go about your lunch, you're so excited. You're with your friends, you get a break, you get to talk about the Red Sox tonight. You get to talk about going to Bishop Stang tonight to play football, and life is good. What do you think it would mean if you just got up and went over to him? Hey man, how you doing? But you don't, because you don't think about other people. You just think about what makes you happy. But then you have a coach that teaches you as a football team, we don't play for ourselves. We play for each other. We play for the name on the jersey. But you have that attitude when it comes to sports, but you don't have that attitude when it comes to people. When people is more important than sports, because dealing with people, you learn as a result of the sports, but you got to take what you learn from the sport and bring it over to real life. What do you think it would do for you to, I'm not even saying leave your friends and go to him, but what if you just said, hey, dude, why don't you come sit with us? And I'm not asking to be best friends, but everybody has a story. And when you get to know people's story, you get to become a little bit more affectionate. You get to become a little bit more you become more compassionate, and that's what's important. Not you become more sensitive, you become more understanding. But the great thing is you become more grateful for what you have. And I meet young people every day. It's like, you can't wait to arrive at a destination in life. I can't wait till I graduate from high school. I can't wait to have a girlfriend, a boyfriend. I can't wait till I can drive. I can't wait to have a job. I can't wait till the season's over. I can't wait till I can get a job in life and buy a car and a house and get married. And you constantly wait to arrive at a destination in life as a goal you set to be, to arrive, to have come, to only look back and realize that no journey has been fulfilling unless you've learned to appreciate what you've gone through. Life is not perfect. Life will never be perfect. But what I want you to understand is your happiness and success in life is not based on events. It's not like, oh, I can't wait to the game tonight. No, you think about it. The game tonight is a moment within your high school career. Your happiness and success is based on moments in your life, not events in your life. I've been hospitalized twice. I'm glad you're here. What's your name? Your name is Austin? You like the Red Sox, Austin? We have a game today. You know that, right? How old are you? You're 17. Yeah. I was abused as a child. My parents are both alcoholics. I was just recently diagnosed with bipolar type 2. And yesterday I was diagnosed with PTSD. You know, sometimes just waking up in the morning is one of the hardest things that I do. You see, when I was your age, I always thought it was about ability and intelligence. And I've come to learn in my life that it's really about your choices and your attitude. I mean, think about it. You're making a choice right now. Yeah, do I want to listen to this fat dude, or I hope he falls off the stage so I can go back to class? As you came in here, you chose, for the most part, who you wanted to sit next to. We choose every day. Am I choosing to go to the game? Am I choosing not to go to the game? Am I choosing to listen to music, or am I not going to listen to music? You chose breakfast this morning or no breakfast. What are you going to wear? We choose every day. The second thing I learned that is important is attitude. And you've heard it before from other people, your parents, teachers. Yo, change your attitude. Check your attitude. Have a better attitude. Your attitude sucks. Attitude plays a significant role in life. Yeah, last week we're playing a game, we go triple overtime, and we ended up losing. And the drive home was really, oh my God, I can't, you know, my life, why even play anymore? So it's like, are you going to stay bitter, or are you going to wake up and become better? That's the difference between attitude. You put it behind, you move over. But we learn from failures, we learn from mistakes. We're learning every day, and that's really what you learn. Life is hard. 7 years ago, I'm in Grand Rapids, Michigan, working a youth conference when I get a phone call from my daughter's mother. I'll never forget this. I'm with 200 kids, and Mom says to me, "Are you free right now?" I'm like, "No." "Why?" And she says, "You might want to make yourself free." "Why?" She said, "Because I just dropped your daughters off at the airport. And unless you want them to be homeless, you need to find them a one-way ticket because they're no longer welcome in my family anymore." How would you like that? I go to the lady that brought me in. I'm like, "I got to go. I have a family emergency. I don't know if I'll be back. I'll call you. I'll let you know, but I have to go right now." I get to the airport, I get on a private plane, and within 2 hours of getting that call, I end up in Dayton International Airport. I get off the plane, I walk in front of the airport, and on the other side of the airport, sitting on a bench, my 2 daughters were sitting on a bench with 3 black trash bags to their name. They barely had hope. They had no money. They had no cell phone. And I run over and I give them a hug and I said, "It's going to be okay. It will be okay." Do you think that when I hugged them and I said, "It will be okay," that I knew that it will be okay? No. And I don't know what you deal with in your life. I don't know 5 years ago. I don't know last year, this summer. I don't know what happened this morning. I don't know what's going to happen today, what's going to happen tomorrow, what's going to happen next year. But there's one thing that I do know. No matter what you deal with, whether you've lost a parent, your parents are divorced, there's trouble in your life, your boyfriend broke up, your girlfriend broke, it will be okay. It'll be okay, buddy. It'll be okay. But you have to believe that it will be okay. You see, that's the difference. If you don't believe, it might not. If you do believe, then you will work through any problem that you might have in your life. I said, "Let's go home." We flew home to the Cape where we live, and I hired an attorney, and I was awarded 3 months later full custody of my daughters. Life is hard, but that's what makes life so beautiful, is you enjoy the challenges. You enjoy the adversity. We enjoy that our quarterback is hurt and can't play, so we bring in the second string quarterback, and that's when we really unite as a team, as we rally around each other, not just on the football field, but we rally around each other in life. That's what's so beautiful. Oh, shit. Shut up, fat people shouldn't jump. What's your name, pretty lady? What's that? Imani? That's a pretty name. Do you have grandparents, Imani? You do. Are you close with them? That makes me happy. You get to spend time with them? That's awesome. You love them? Stupid question, huh? They love you? I hope so too. Do you know why you and your grandparents and you have an incredible love and affection and bond with each other? So you just take for granted, you don't even realize it. Are you going to give me the typical answer like, we're family? But there's a reason, Ubani. You and your grandparents and you have an incredible love for one another because there's a common enemy in the middle. It's your parents. Right? You know what I love about old people? They smell and they don't even care. So it's like old people give us what life gives us over time. Old people give us what education can't. We can come to education, be with the teacher, and we gain knowledge, right? But grandparents give us wisdom and experience. Does that make sense? I mean, think about it. You ask an 80-year-old man or woman a question, and you're going to get a 2-minute answer filled with 60 years of experiences, books they've read, people they've met, jobs they've had, successes and failures that they've encountered. So it's like, follow me with what I mean, not literally, but just stay there. But when I'm up there, I'm talking about Karen and Britt, remember? And then I started thinking, I don't have the ability or intelligence. I started to grow up as a result of failures, and I learned I have control over choices and my attitude. And when I changed that, and I met people you trust, respect, opinions you value, when we go to them, they give us that wisdom and experience. That makes sense, right? Do you know that my daughters ain't never met their grandparents until about maybe 3-4 years ago? And I remember thinking, that's my fault. Here I am about 39 years old, and I'm still suffering the consequences of when I was 2 years old and my parents tightened my diaper too tight. And I'm starting to think, what, my parents didn't hug me when I was a child? My parents didn't tell me that I'm special and I'm capable and that I can do it? And then when I played Little League Baseball, I didn't get a trophy no matter how bad we were. You know what the problem is with young people today? Our parents and teachers and coaches, we're so concerned about your self-esteem. And the reality is I can come here as a speaker and I can talk to you and I can tell you you're beautiful. I can tell you you're smart. I can tell you you're strong. But what does it mean if I tell you what you can do and how good you are and that you're capable? It doesn't do anything if I tell you, but you don't believe it yourself. Max, right? Same thing, you're right. Mac is 7'1". He plays football. You know what his problem is? He's big, he's strong, but he don't believe it yet. He could be faster, but he's 7'1", hasn't really grown into his body. I can tell Matt, go out there tonight and kick some butt. But Matt, if you don't believe it and you're still hesitant, then you're going to limit your potential to be the best, not just football, but basketball. You play ever Little League Baseball, Matt? You play hockey? WTF? How does someone like you play hockey? Dude, you're like a coach's dream. I want to come and cuddle with you. I know that's awkward and inappropriate. See, here's the problem, Mac. I want someone like you or you, Abani, to believe in what you can do. But you have to believe in it. And you can't go home and have like a trophy from coming in 6th place and be like, you want to come over? You want to see my trophy? Yeah, I play Little League Baseball. Yeah. Huh? What position did I play? No, I didn't play. My team sucked. I just sucked more. But I got a trophy. It's like this, Matt. If I'm your math teacher or if I'm your coach, move. Just move. Shut up. It's okay. Move. If I'm your coach, excuse me. If I'm your coach, Mac, and in tonight's game, if you miss a block, if you miss an assignment, if you miss a tackle, do you want me to give you a sticker that says you're special? No, you want me to jump over the other players, Mac, and you want me to put my foot up your ass and be like, why did you tell me that you don't understand the play? I can't help you unless you're ready to... I'm sorry, does that make sense, though? I can't help you, Mac, unless you're ready to ask for help. I'm sorry. You'll be okay. Sorry. I know this is awkward. Awkward. Sometimes I get carried away. Have you ever, Bonnie, been disappointed? Yeah. Mac, have you ever been disappointed? Have you ever been disappointed, pretty lady? Yeah. How about you? You have beautiful hair. Have you ever been disappointed? Friends disappoint friends, right? Parents disappoint their children. Children disappoint their parents. Teachers disappoint students. Students, we disappoint teachers. Boyfriend, girlfriend, boyfriend, friends, right? Have you ever wondered where disappointment comes from? When you come to school every day, do you expect that your peers are going to respect you? You do. Bonnie, when you come to school every day, do you expect that your peers are going to respect you? You do. Mac? How about you, sir? Who dressed you this morning? You look good, man. I like your jacket, varsity leather. You have a girlfriend? No. Not yet. You look good, man. When you come to school every day, do you expect that your peers are going to respect you?
Well, I hope so.
You hope so. When you come to school every day, are people nice to you? Yeah, they are. That's good. Hey, how about you, Red? When you come to school, are people nice to you? Yes, that's good. How you guys doing? Good? Thank you for teaching. What's your name? Jackie. When you come to school every day, do you expect people to be nice to you? What's your name, beautiful? Yeah, Nicole. When you come to school every day, do you expect your peers are going to respect you? Must be nice. Come to Martha's Vineyard High School, and I come to school and people are going to like me and respect me. It's not like that everywhere. I feel sorry for you. You want to know why? Because maybe just showing up with an expectation that people are going to be nice to you has to probably, I think, has to be a negative, not a positive. Because what happens if you do come and someone doesn't respect you, then you become disappointed, right? You see, I think with young people, sometimes we live too much with an expectation. I am, therefore someone or something owes me. You think when I woke up this morning and I was coming to Martha's Vineyard High School that I thought that I'd take a microphone and 700 kids and teachers were going to give me class time and they're going to like this guy? Who am I? You know what we are? We're squirrels trying to get a nut. That's it. I put my pants on the same way you do. Put my shoes on the same way you do. You know what the difference is? When I got up this morning, I was excited, man. And I started thinking, you know what, I'm honored that I get this opportunity of coming here, and I get to be here, and I get to be present with you. I'm going to be real with you. I'm going to engage with you and respect you, sir, and respect you all the way in the end, and give respect to everyone in between. And one thing I've learned is if I come here and I give you respect, you, and I give you respect to you, don't you think that you are probably going to respect me back? Regardless of how I look, what I'm saying, my tattoos, I'm big, I'm bald, you're probably, if I'm respecting you and your friends, you're probably going to respect me back, right? Here's the question. If I give you and your peers respect, but you choose not to respect me, is that about me or is that about you? It's about you, right? So for whatever reason, you're not respecting me, regardless I'm respecting you. That's not about me, but that's about you and your inadequacies. That makes sense, right? Here's the question. Why do you give people the power over how you feel about yourself? Because you live with expectations when I want you to learn to live with an objective. The objective here, I'm not coming here and thinking that you're going to respect me or your teachers are going to respect me. I don't really care. I mean, what's the worst thing that'll happen? You'll never invite me to Martha's Vineyard ever again? Oh, no, like ruin my career. I haven't been here to speak or earn money in 20 years. I don't care if I ever come back again. But the objective is you can't control people, places, and things. That makes sense, right? But you control how you respond every day. Your attitude, your choices. You control your presence when you enter the game tonight. You control your attitude with people every single day. That's objective living. And when you live with the objective, you have the power to change your life. That makes sense, right? There's not an expectation that you're going into the game tonight without your starting quarterback, but there's the objective that, yeah, he's hurt second string quarterback, and the objective is we all need to step up. We need to step up for each other, and if we did that in life, maybe all of our lives would change. I wanted my daughters to meet their grandparents. I got on the motorcycle, drove 17 hours down to New Bern, North Carolina. I knocked on my parents' door. My father answered the door. I said, hi. My dad said, hi. I said, it's been a long time. My dad said, yeah, it has. I said, I'm thirsty. Can I have something to drink? My parents invited me in the house. I spent 3 days with my parents. I went home. My daughter says, Dad, how was your visit? I said, it was really good. Why don't for Thanksgiving we go down when we meet your grandparents? We went down. My daughters got to meet their grandparents. We had such a good time. We went back for Christmas. We had such a good time over Christmas. My daughter says, Dad, can we stay for New Year's? My daughters got to embrace their grandparents. You know why we forgive people? We don't forgive people for them. We forgive people for ourselves and our hearts so that we can move forward without baggage. And there's a difference between forgiveness and trust. Does that make sense? I can forgive you, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I will trust you. I forgive Michael Vick of the Philadelphia Eagles. He did his time. He went away. He came back. He changed his influences, including his own brother, and became a spokesperson in the NFL. So I've forgiven him. I actually like him. I like to follow him. I like to see what he's doing, but I'm not going to invite Michael Vick to come and watch my dog. We can forgive. It doesn't mean we're going to trust. Live without the expectation. Live with the objective. You get to change your life. And self-esteem does not come from me, your parents, or teachers. We can help, but what does it mean if you don't believe it yourself? What's your name? Nicole. Can I ask you a question, Nicole? As I ask this question, this is me, you, this is you, me. This is my heart, your heart, my heart. There's nobody else in this room. And I want you to answer the question like that fast, just as if I say, are you in school today? Yeah. Nicole, are you as beautiful on the inside as you are on the outside? Don't you ever change a damn thing about you. You want to know why? I ask this question every day in a high school all over the world. And 97% of the time I ask that question, I always get a blank stare. I always get, OMG, I can't believe someone just asked me that. And then it's always like, no. You're one of the 3% of the people that said yes. And here's my question that I ask other girls or guys I've been asking. Why should I love you if you don't love yourself? Does that make sense? And that I ask you that question, Nicole, and without thinking about it, you said yes. You know what the problem is, Nicole? We go through life, and as we grow up, we're so concerned about our media, we're concerned about music, we're concerned about video games, or we're concerned about marketing, and marketing tells us how we should be because we live our lives wanting to have acceptance. We want to be popular. When it bothers me, because what we should focus on is not our outward appearance, because that's based on acceptance, but we should focus on what's inside, because when you take care of what's inside, the outside will take care of itself. That makes sense, right? You want to be successful in life? Be willing to have people talk about you.
I do every day.
You want to do great things? Be willing to be rejected. Because when you're willing to have people say something, talk about you, reject you, and you're not concerned about opinions, but you're concerned with what's in your heart, then the best thing that I want you to do, that I learned to do as an adult, is to get up in the morning and look in the mirror, to have the courage to look in the mirror, because you're honest with yourself, right? And sometimes we put on this facade because we want acceptance, we want to be liked, and we change who we are to try and meet the approval of other people. I don't want you to do that. I want you to look in the mirror and say, I'm smart, I'm strong, I'm capable, and I want you to look in the mirror and say, not, I'm as beautiful. I want you to focus on being more beautiful inside than you are on the outside, because then the outside happens. That makes sense, right? High five. Chest bump, awkward. Please give Nicole a round of applause. So about 2 years ago, I went through a divorce. And I think there comes a time in your life when you accept responsibility. I think it's partly my fault with PTSD that I just recently realized, yeah, I have. I think it's my fault with bipolar. I'm not perfect. I have my issues. And I also think, some are her fault. But, the best thing, we worked through it. It was mutual. We're still great friends, and that I'm really proud about. Well, I remember about 5 years ago, my wife wanted to have her family over for Thanksgiving. And for Thanksgiving, I really just want football and mashed potatoes, man. But you got to play that family thing. You got to welcome everybody over. So my wife invites her family. My wife's aunt is the first one to arrive. I don't know if any of you have a crazy aunt in your family. My wife's aunt, she ain't right. Her name is Cynthia, and that's what I call her because that's her name. But she goes by the name of Sister Hildegard Clare. She thinks she's an ordained minister. I know. Ain't nobody ordained her. She walks like this. I'd rather spend a weekend trying on prom dresses when it ain't even prom season than spend an hour talking to her. She ain't right. She doesn't make sense talking. She don't make sense being. It would make more sense being in a pool with Helen Keller playing Marco Polo than trying to understand who she thinks she is. Oh, man. Well, I remember she's the first one to arrive, and I'm like, hi, Auntie, come on in. I'm so happy you're here. Why don't you sit with the dog? He loves everybody. And so do I. I'm just busy. My wife and I were never able to have children. And I think that was always I always wanted to have a boy named Bo. I love the name Bo. Is there a Bo here? He left? Why? Screw him. I mean, how rude. He just walks out. I feel like I'm in high school dating again. People just walked out on me. I love the name Bo. And I had dreams growing up that I would have a boy named Bo with big honking Texas-sized cowboy boots. I'm not even from Texas. I always dreamed to have a boy Bo with a big honking Texas-sized cowboy hat. And I have a boy Bo with a big honking Texas-sized WWE WrestleMania looking like big honking belt buckle. And my boy Bo would come to school every day and be like, "What's up, Mac? I'm Bo. And I'll kick your butt." Oh, man. So my wife and I were never able to have children, and we had moved into our first home, and I remember my wife had said to me, she said, "Honey, now that we have our first house, why don't we go get ourselves a dog and we can make it a home?" I love dogs. Our neighbor said to us down, it was just shortly after this, "Hey, Jeff, you about neighbors down the road that just had puppies?" I was like, "Ha!" They said, "No, not them, but their dogs had." Oh. And my wife grew up with a black lab when she was young, and I grew up with a yellow lab when I was young. And how you doing, Bo? Is your name Bo or Bo? Like B-E-A-U? B-O? I love you, Bo. When you all, like, where'd you go, to the bathroom? Did you flush? Did you wipe the toilet seat? You know, we also have a 7th grader named Jordan who's amazing. And you know what bothers me about having boys? I'm just sick of them pissing on the toilet seat and not cleaning up. I mean, when boys go to the bathroom, you like sprinkler systems. Just like, Now, Bo, when you left, you missed the point. I love the name Bo. And my wife and I were never able to have children, so I'm sharing all this because you chose to leave. So let me recapture the moment to bring you up to speed. So anyway, my wife grew up with a black lab. I grew up with a yellow lab. And my wife and I thought that someday, her and I together, we were going to have a chocolate lab. And, I mean, not together, but we thought, all right. So our neighbor said, "Hey, Jet, you have neighbors down there?" And I'm like, "How?" They said, "No, not them, but the dogs." So I go home, "Hey, baby, neighbors down the road, they just had pup. I mean, not them, but the dogs had pup. We got to go look at them." And my wife's like, "Okay." And so we go down this Saturday, and you can't just look at puppies. We go down there Saturday about 12 noon, and I walk in the house, and there were 9 little 6-week-old chocolate lab puppies. I know, I was there. And I walk in the house, and there's this one little dog just looking at me. Where are you going? Should we stop and let everyone go pee? What's your name? Charlotte. When I was in 6th grade, I had a girlfriend named Emily. She was hot. I used to call her Bubbles. I don't have anything about Charlotte. You can go. You'll just miss the puppy story. I love your belt. I saw that you dress so nicely. Whatever. So I go down, and there's like, no, stay with me. Don't, okay, I know it's Friday. So, I don't know why I do this. There was this one little chocolate lab puppy, and he's just looking at me. He's like, hey, mister, take me home. I'm like, hey, little puppy, you're kind of cute. And he's like, so are you. I'm like, I know. I remember I picked him up. He's 6, he's dangling in my arms. And I'm kissing him on the mouth, and he's licking my face. And I said, baby, this is my boy, Bo. And my wife said, she said, no, his name is Chase. And I was like, okay, his name is Chase. And I'm just sitting there. I'm like, you're so cute. And he's like, I am too. That's what he told me. You want to come home. And he's dangling. And he just pissed. Right on, just like it's not, he just unloaded. And I have never been so excited in my life. I was like, that's my boy! We took him home. He was 6 weeks old. He was 6 months old. He was 6 years old. And everywhere I'd go, I'd be like, Chase, you want to go for a ride? And he loved to go for a ride. I'm like, get on up in the truck, little buddy. And he'd get up on the truck, and his paws are up on the dash. And I'd be driving. I'd be like, it's a good day. And he's like, feed me. He told me that because I'm a dog whisperer. But he ate dog food, cat food, toys, bras, shoes, panties, children. He ate everything. We took him on 2 walks a day. Walked him in the morning. We walked him in the afternoon. We exercised him at night. He loved to exercise. And you know one of the greatest things I learned about having a dog is when I grew up, everything was conditional. If you do this, you get that. But if you do that, then you get this. Having a dog, everything is unconditional. I travel all over the world. And do you think that when I would come home, my wife would wake up at 2, 3 in the morning and she would be, I don't know. Well, you think my wife would wake up and be like, honey, you're home? No. You think my daughters wake up like, Daddy, you're home? No. You think the boys are like, Jeff, you're home? No. But I remember anytime, day or night, I could walk in front door, I could walk in back door, and Chase was always there to greet me. Yeah, I know. Anybody here have a lab? You have a lab? You have a yellow lab? What's your yellow lab's name? No shit. You have a yellow lab named Chatham. Who named your dog? You lived in Chatham? It is getting more stupid. Your mom named your dog Chatham. Well, so then, like, you're gonna, like, it's like lying and trying to walk out of it. Chatham, come! Chatham, no! Chatham, stay! Stupid. You got to name your dog like, Bo! Bo, come! Bo! Because dogs don't understand Chatham, 2 syllables. Dogs understand 1-word syllables. Like stay, stop, no, go, come. Chatham. Is your dog on medication? So it's a boy. Kim? It's fighting words. We have a 9-month-old English bulldog named Bo. And my Bo would laugh at Chatham. No, seriously, we take our dog to daycare. You know what the problem with Bo was? Jeff, Bo doesn't share. Really? What am I supposed to do? Teach Bo to share? Here's my biscuit. You can have that biscuit. I love labs. I love bulldogs. How old is Chatham? That's good. When you go home today and you walk in the house, who will be the first one to greet you at the door? All the time, huh? Waiting for you. You will never in your life ever have a love that will run out the door down the driveway for you. When you think about it, it is, isn't it? When you invite your friends over, does Chatham judge your friends or Chatham accepts everybody? He does. Let me ask you a question. Do you love people the way your dog loves you? What's your name? Megan. Megan, you just gave me like the most perfect answer that anyone has ever given me. You want to know why? Because you're real. It's like we don't love people the way dogs love us. I don't know if it's possible, but I often think, why? Are people judgmental? Do people have trouble accepting? But here's the thing. Why can't we try and be less judgmental? Why can't we just try and be more accepting? When we find ourselves judging, why can't we just stop and say, I don't know their story? When we're having trouble accepting, why can't we just say, why? Like, are you better than him? Is he better than you? Are we better than each other? But you just said, I try, and that's all I want. I want us to try to be more loving. I want us to try to be more kind. I want us to try and be more forgiving. I want us to try and be better, try and be stronger, try and be more compassionate. That's it. Do me a favor when you go home. When your dog comes running down the driveway, just stop everything and give Chatham like the biggest hug you've ever given him. Because here's why, Nicole. You're right. You're Nicole. Freaking sorry. 2 years ago on May 4th, I got the phone call that I hope you never get. I'm on my way from Connecticut to Pennsylvania when my wife called me and she said, honey, I don't know how to tell you this, but Chase is dead. I turned my car around. I drove home so fast. And when I walked in the house, I looked at my wife and I said, where's he at? And my wife looked at me and she said, he's in your office sleeping under your desk. Megan, I went in my office. I pulled out my chair. And Chase was 12 years old. He had just gone to sleep and didn't wake up. I cried like a baby. And for me, it was like, not one last time did I get to say thank you, Megan. Not one last time did I get to say I love you. And for 12 years, this dog graced my heart with his presence. And yes, I appreciated it, but right then it was like, you know what? There's so many days and times that I took all of it for granted. And the greatest love that I've ever had, when I'm depressed and Chase would come, it's like he knew that I was feeling sad. And it's like he wanted to get closer. When I'd sit down and watch the game, he'd come sit with me. It's like he knew what I needed at the time. About a week later, I remember I looked at my wife and I said, I want to fish. And so I called my buddy Larry. Everybody needs a friend named Larry. And Larry shows up with this excavator. He owns an excavation company. And I'm like, Larry, we're going to build the world's largest koi pond and waterfall. We're going to make Disney jealous. Larry shows up. We take the excavator off the trailer. We dig up my yard. I had trees. I had flowers, plants, bushes. I used to be able to name every blade of grass in my yard. I love landscaping. We tore that yard up. My wife comes home from school that afternoon. She's like, what are you doing? And I looked at my wife and I said, what am I doing? You won't give me a boy named Bo? You wouldn't let me have a dog named Bo? I'm going to have me a fish named Bo. 4 days later, Megan, we had 6,500 gallons of water in that yard. We had rocks cascading over the waterfall, into the rocks, into the waterfall, just into the pond. I had pumps, beautiful. It was beautiful. I went and bought 2 fish, Megan. I bought one big honking $400 big, beautiful, big, you should have seen it. It was this awesome, big, $400 beautiful, big freaking fish. I bought this little $19 fish. I don't care if you died, I'll replace you. You're $19. I bought 2 fish. I take them home. I put them in the pond. They start swimming around. Thank you, Mr. Jeff. I'm a fish whisperer, too. And I'm like, yay, you. Have fun, guys. And, oh, man. My wife had come home. She sees the landscape. It looked beautiful. She saw the pond. She comes up and she sees the fish. And she said, what's the fish's name? That big fish there, that's Bo. That's Bo. She sees the little fish. She said, is that Bo too? No. You named the fish the same name? That's stupid. They have feelings. They're alive. You wouldn't want everybody to be named Marcia, would you? No. Marcia, Marcia, Marcia. The fish is an individual. The fish has a name. The fish has... I didn't take my meds that day. My wife's, sorry, I didn't. It's not like the fish comes when I call. What's the fish's name? Nemo. Everybody wonders what happened to Nemo. I got Nemo. Nemo's alive. I love that movie. I have to go out of town. I return 5 days later. I come up, I see Bo. There were 23 fish. She bought 23 fish. Hey! My wife comes, I'm sorry. My wife comes out, she's like, what? I'm like, the fish. What's the fish's name? She yelled, Coco. What's the other fish's name? She said, they're all Coco. She named them all Coco. What? They don't come when I call. She wanted animals that were affectionate. I wanted a dog. She didn't want a dog. I traveled too much. She didn't want to take care of it. So she went out and bought 2 cats. I know, I hate cats too. She went out and bought 2 cats, Phoebe and Fiona. And I'd walk in the house, Phoebe, Fiona, come. Come. Phoebe, come. Fiona, come. Okay, don't. Cats are like high school seniors. Like, sup. So you know what I used to do to them at night? I used to give them a bath. It's so cute when they're wet. Here's the moral of the story. Why can't we just try and love the way animals love us? My wife's grandpa showed up. Mac? No, not you, your principal. Says, Matt, I don't know what time it is. How much time do I have? So do you want me to... I have like 15... All right. I'm always the guest. I don't want to interrupt teachers' time, so I have about 15 minutes left. I'm going to sum it up in 3 minutes. I have, my wife's grandpa showed up. This is my signature story. I'm going to give it to you real quick. I wish you could have met him. He was 95 years old. I'm sitting down with him. I'm thinking, wow, this guy's old, but I wanted to spend more time with him. And so he lived in Sandwich, about 3 miles where we lived. And so every day I'd go to his house, and I wanted to spend time with him. So I would sit down, and I'm trying to give this real quick, and this is the most powerful story. I would sit down, and he took the wisdom experience. He taught me the greatest lesson I've ever learned. I want to share with you 3 things that he taught me, and I'll leave it at that. He would never talk about his money. He would never talk about what he did for work. He'd never talk about his cars. But he would look at me and be like, the 3 most powerful words that you can share with someone. I love you. And then the 3 most courageous words he taught me. I'm sorry I'm rushing this. I feel like I'm doing you such a disservice. The 3, everything was 3 to him. Most courageous words that you can tell someone. I'm sorry. Now confusing. I'm sorry. Grandpa, that's 2. He'd be like, you're a wise ass. Matt, just give me, can I have 5 minutes? You're throwing me way off. Okay. My wife's grandpa, on the day before he died, he said this to me. You know, I've been thinking. He was 97. We never have time to do things right, but we always have time to do things over. Why don't we just do it right the first time? Matt, can I be disrespectful? My contract says an hour and a half. Can I do the contract instead of 5 minutes? It's Friday. You don't want them back in class for advisory right now, right? Matt, I'm sorry. I'll hug you after. Have any of you ever heard the name Jimmy Valvano? Not you, sir. You're old. But I love you. Students, the early 80s, Jimmy Valvano was the head basketball coach at NC State University. On Twitter and Instagram, if you go to @Jeff Yalden, I will post a link to the greatest 11-minute motivational speech that I think I have ever seen in my life. In the early 80s, he was the head basketball coach at NC State. They were the team, the Cinderella team. They go to the finals. They play Houston. They beat Houston. They win, the Cinderella team. And ESPN still shows him running across the court like, we did it, man. We did it. In the late 80s, he was fired. 1992, I'm coming back from the Gulf War. I come from a big basketball family. My brother calls me, hey, Jeff, did you hear what happened to Jimmy V? I'm like, no, Rob, what happened? My brother says to me, he has terminal cancer. And I remember, like, Rob, what's that mean? And my brother said, he's going to die. 1993, ESPN holds the first ever ESPN ESPY Awards. And they invited Jimmy Valvano to be the keynote speaker. What you don't know, when Mike Krzyzewski, and Dick Vitale flew up that day, not only did he have terminal cancer, but he also had the flu. And when he gets to his hotel, his people called ESPN people, and they said, he's tired, he's sick, he can't do it. But Mike Krzyzewski and Dick Vitale, they get word of this. They go to his hotel. They're like, Jimmy, you got to do it, man. Come on. They get him up, they get him showered, they get him dressed, and Jimmy Valvano says, I'll do it. If you watch the video, you'll see Mike Krzyzewski standing on stage. Dick Vitale comes out to the audience. Thousands of people, millions of people watching worldwide. And you'll see Dick Vitale escorting Jimmy Valvano up the stairs. And then Dickie V takes a step off to the side. And Jimmy Valvano gets up to the lectern and he looks out to the crowd. Cancer can take away my physical abilities, but it will not touch my heart, my spirit, or my soul. He said, don't give up Don't ever give up. And then the dude's flashing a sign like, you got 30 seconds, get off the stage. And Jimmy Valvano has tumors all over his body, and he looks over them and he's like, I got days to live. You're telling me to get off the stage. Like, I care what you say. And he flipped them off. Matt, by all means, I would never, I'm honored and touched. And he looks out to the audience and he says, there's 3 things you got to do every day. This man is dying. And when he said that, I heard him. He said, number 1, you got to laugh. He said, number 2, you got to spend time in thought. I wear a bracelet nearly every day that has the 4 T's. Take time to think. And he said, number 3, don't ever be afraid to have your emotions move to tears. He said, think about it. You do that every day. You laugh, you think, and you feel. He said, that's a good day. That's a fulfilling day. You guys don't understand. But when you get older, you're going to look at your life and realize that when you lay your head in the pillow every day, there's 3 questions that you have to ask. Is my life meaningful? Is my life fulfilling? And is my life rewarding? And Jimmy Valvano says, I got to go. Everyone stands on their feet, applauds him in tears. He walks off the stage, and 2 months later, Jimmy Valvano died. But that one talk I'm asking you to watch has raised over $750 million for cancer research. When I was in high school, I wouldn't dance because I was afraid. You'd judge me, you'd laugh at me, you'd ask me to dance. I'd say no. Jeff, why? No, I'm white. I ain't got no rhythm. Then I went to see a dude named Bob Seger in concert. That dude is old, man. Sells out arenas. Kid Rock went on tour with him this past spring. And Bob Seger, he dances like this. Music is the most parsimonious language in the world. It speaks to you like no language can. I want you to dance like people aren't watching. I want you to sing like people aren't listening. I want you to learn to live like people are afraid to live. Because the next day I went to my wife's grandpa's house, he wasn't sitting in his chair. And when I walked in the house, he was 20 feet away laying on the kitchen floor. He had fallen and broken his hip. He couldn't get up. We called 911, rushed him to the hospital, did emergency surgery. The whole family came in. Family went out to dinner that night, and my wife stopped and said, honey, why don't you stay with Grandpa? I said, why don't you stay with him? He's your grandpa. My wife says, everybody thinks Grandpa would like it best if you were there because you were the closest one to him. So that night I sat there at my wife's grandpa and I held his hand. Hey, Megan, how do dogs spell love? Dogs spell love T-I-M-E. How do you and I spell love? T-I-M-E. The next morning, Grandpa woke up and his heart capacity was at less than 10%. Doctors called family and said, I'm sorry. I don't think he's going to make it. They gave him 48 hours to live. The family went back and we cried, and family went out to dinner that night. I stayed with Grandpa. And I learned how to spell love that night. And I said, I love you, Grandpa. And I said, thank you. And I said, I'm sorry, but we're going to be okay. And I said, you can go, Grandpa. And the next morning, my wife's grandpa died. And so as I close with you and I thank you for your time, I ask you this last question. If you had somebody in your life that was given less than 1 month to live, and you could say anything to that person, who would that person be? What would you say? And why haven't you done it? And I leave you with this. Kim and I have a 3-year-old niece who has Down syndrome. We have a 15-year-old boy who's developmentally delayed. I have a 20-year-old nephew who has autism. And I look at each and every one of you and I think how beautiful, kind, respectful, and what an honor it was to be a part of your life. And I think you're going to graduate, you're going to do good things, you're going to go on, get married, buy a house, drive cars, go on vacations. I have a 20-year-old nephew that will never be able to do half what you can do. You want to know what he wants? Jeff, you want to know what I want? What do you want, Patrick? Megan, all he wants is a girlfriend. It's all he wants someday to have a girlfriend. You want to know what he wants to do? Someday he just wants to go to a teenage party. And the reality, I didn't come here to tell you to do your homework. I didn't come here to tell you to not do this, not do that. I came here, I talked about choices and attitude and search for people that you trust, respect, and go to them. As a result of wasting teachers' time, Mac, Kim, we have no plans tonight, right? No. Mac, Kim and I and the boys, we're going to be on your sideline tonight watching you kick Bishop Stang's ass. We're coming to the game. And I leave you with this. I leave you with this. Your youth task force made sure that every one of you get a Take Time to Think t-shirt. I think that's awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, if any of you are interested, I'll be out there. I'll be willing to sign. I also have my own Take Time to Think t-shirts. They're only $10. I have bracelets. If any of you want a bracelet, it's $2 or 3 for $5. I have a Take Time to Think bumper sticker that's $1. Take Time to Think lanyard, that's $3. I also wrote a book, Your Life Matters. The book is $10. And if any of you want a poster, here's the message I'm trying to leave you with. The poster's $3. Work for a cause, not for applause. Live life to express, not to impress. Don't strive to make your presence noticed. Just make your absence felt. Teachers, thank you so much for Matt, I know I put you on the spot. Thank you, sir. Students, you guys were unbelievable. Thank you for your time. Thank you so much.